Hello, and welcome to the Time Is Now podcast. I've come on here a little bit early to explain that during the following podcast, there are spaces where I don't know if it was an internet issue, but there's like silent spaces. I was going to edit them out, but my inner voice, spirit, told me to leave them in. They are energetic transmissions. So, keeping that in mind, here's the following podcast with my friend Nick. I hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to the Time Is Now podcast. My guest today is Nick. I know a little bit about him. We follow each other on Instagram, but I'm going to pass it over to him and let him do the introduction. Nick?
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Sorrenti. I am a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, and I'm also a drum circle facilitator, and very, very passionate and connected to the work that I do, and essentially hypnotherapy and the quantum work that I do. We are taking individuals to find the quantum root cause of specific conditions in their life. And some of these quantum root causes may be from this lifetime or other lifetimes. And when we're able to find those root causes and allow the emotion and energy to flow through, we are able to transform these root causes into something beautiful. And that is a majority of the part of the quantum healing hypnosis that I do. Throughout the sessions, I also facilitate connections to the higher self. And sometimes we also can bring forth messages and guidance from the angelics and from galactic beings, which is really beautiful. Um, and that is a little bit about the quantum healing hypnosis. I'm also very passionate about building various spiritual technology, tensor rings, and pyramids. And as I mentioned, I've been a drum circle facilitator as well. I've been drumming since I was around 4 years old. So I also like to incorporate drumming and different forms of sound healing in my practice. I found that really allows people to get deep into a trance state, into connecting with the theta brainwave states where the subconscious is open and we can start to rewrite the script of the subconscious and clear out a lot of the limiting programming that has been put into the collective. So yeah, that is a little bit about the quantum healing work that I do. I'm so grateful to be here on your podcast, Jody. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about all things Arcturian and
Yeah,
pyramids.
here we go. Okay, good. I'm very excited to have you here too. Um, the quantum, is it the QHHT? That's the Lauren Cannon stuff, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. So that was the first one that I took, the Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And then I took a secondary training from a woman named Laura Whitworth, and she created her own branch. She was a level 3 practitioner, and she created another branch of quantum healing called soul-centered healing hypnosis. And essentially, the really only difference is that she wants all of the clients to be cleared before they get into hypnosis. So what clearing in her terms is like any kind of energetic attachments, whether they be entities or any kind of stagnant emotion that is on someone's field, to have that cleared so that they can get deeper into the work. And that I find that after I took the secondary training, I was able to have a lot more success in working with people from like a wide range of of backgrounds.
Very interesting. You opened the door for my past entities and implants, the whole
Yes,
match. And I agree totally. And people have asked me, what can I do? They don't always want to hear what I'm going to tell them because a lot of it starts with their own physical bodies, their own mental attitudes. And exactly right. You're the first person I've ever heard mention that they prefer the client to be somewhat cleared before you even start.
exactly.
It's key, isn't it?
It is so important. Yeah, when I first tried doing the hypnotherapy work, I was able to get people into trance state, and they were entering into that connection with the theta brainwave. And what I found is that they kept on just going to experiences from this lifetime. So they would go to childhood experiences, and they weren't really connecting to other lifetimes. And I was like a little bit discouraged because I wanted to have some like galactic experience come through right away. So then, yeah, it was a friend of mine that I had a session with, and she really was struggling making a connection. So I found this woman, Laura Whitworth, and I just decided, okay, I have to like go full force with this and take another training. And I found after really focusing on that clearing portion, clearing the energy centers, yeah, there's so many different forms of interference that can happen. And once the energy body is really clear and connected in the way that it has been intended, I found that we were able to consistently, like no matter the individual, make a connection with other lifetimes. So it was very important and a very key piece I found. And a lot of people are not aware of these things. And I know I've been impacted by these things so much. Um, and I find, yeah, like I'm continuously having to educate people on this. And I try my best to just educate as many people as possible. I don't want anyone to be reliant on practitioners or to have a session with me. I want everyone to be like energetically sovereign. So you know how to clear yourself and to protect yourself so that you're able to fulfill your soul mission as well. And that's really, yeah, a big part of like what I feel called to do is not only just like facilitate sessions, but to teach people so that they're empowered themselves.
Yeah, I agree totally. I like to teach and show through experience. I want people, when they come and search me out, I want them to have an experience. So, there's a lot of talk in the world, but we have
Exactly.
to empower the individual.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, very recently there was like it seems as the light continues to increase on this planet, it's like the bigger ones are coming to the surface now. And I'm grateful that I have been able to like move through some of these things that have come forward to the surface. I feel like it's just because of the experience. And I know how to, I feel, enter in those spaces. At least I hope that I do, because I feel something that I like to do is just be in Christ consciousness, just love. And regardless of that other energy, I feel like if I'm emanating a frequency of love, then I'm not feeding into what they're projecting. And it kind of allows them to just return to their origin and remember their truth as well. So yeah, I feel like that's a really key piece and a shift for me because I used to almost like confront these energies and try to like really come in there like in attack mode, but I felt but that never worked. It's always gentleness for me that has been able to move like even the biggest like darker energies. It's just gentleness, love, and compassion for their journey and their path. We're all part of the oneness.
Yeah, and if you're vibrating at the Christ consciousness, nothing can bother you. It's
Exactly.
all about frequency. And again, that goes back to thoughts and the foods we eat. Like, where do you want to vibrate? You want to vibrate down here or do you want to vibrate up here, right?
Exactly.
As the earth is changing and the energies
Yes.
and frequencies are changing, do you find, well, you kind of talked to it a bit. People are, I don't know if they're waking up or some of the baggage is starting to release and they're looking for answers. So the people that come to see you, what kind of people would they be?
Yeah, I find that a lot of the people who are attracted to specifically the quantum healing hypnosis, um they are aware of Dolores Cannon and her work. Like they're starting to look into these things. Like they may have had some experience that triggered them to really search for something to that gives them purpose in this life. And they may be just getting on that path of really aligning with their soul. And I feel like what a lot of the other clients that I've seen, sometimes they're like they're not too much aware of these things. Like they're um, mainly they come in and we're just working with the experiences from this lifetime. Because if we were to go into other lifetimes, it'd be way too much already. And that's totally okay. Like we're all at different points in our journey, and it's beautiful. Like wherever you're at, it's perfectly fine wherever you're at. And I find that so long as you're engaging in that process and you're open and you're open to healing and expansion and growth and learning, then you're going to be able to access that flow state, and you're going to feel a lot more aligned with your higher self and with the energetic shifts that are happening. So yeah, I would say that I do see a spectrum, but for the most part, the people that are really drawn to the quantum healing work, they are very much aware of of things in this universe and spirituality. So yeah, I'm grateful to work on those individuals as well, and to facilitate some very deep galactic journeys and remembrances. So yeah.
Quantum healing. Can you define what that means, quantum? Um, is that a physics term? Is it
Yeah,
what is quantum? What does that mean?
okay, so from my understanding of the nature of the quantum field is that when we drop into this place of infinite consciousness, there are an infinite number of timelines and trajectories and potentials, and all of that amalgamation of energy is accessible in this quantum field. All realities, all dimensions, every aspect of the oneness, and every perspective that we can possibly view from and experience from. And so, the nature of doing the work in the quantum, it's that we're no longer limited to just providing energy healing to this frame, this instance, but we're able to go into other instances, and as though we were working on someone's soul tree. Okay, so all of the different leaves on the soul tree have all of these different experiences, and they all are happening in this now moment. And so as we're able to go into the different experiences, we can facilitate transformation and growth and expansion through those different experiences that allow for further alignment of your soul. And so the term quantum, again, it comes back to just um, a form of like non-linear. It's not linear. It's just working in this now moment, this infinite now moment. And we're working across timelines. We're working across dimensions. And so there's really there's no limitation in that regards.
So I'm being prodded to put you on the hot spot.
Yeah.
And you can tell me to go away anytime you want. Do you believe all that?
Yes, because I have experienced it myself. Like, and I'm continuing to do this work on myself as well. And it's very important to me. It's very important to me because I find that, um, for example, when if I'm working through something, for example, I'm trying to expand my different avenues of my life currently. um, there are so many other fractals of my soul that have been in different places in this galaxy and have experienced like very deep trauma and then like very expanded states of consciousness. And so if those deep states of trauma are not like fully like brought to the surface and loved and felt and understood, and if I don't learn anything from those experiences, then those signatures are on repeat until I really look at them. And so what I find in my own life, it's really learning the lesson that allows me to then grow and then create a new essentially like geometry for my reality and my life. And for me, like that's been very powerful. And just integrating that and like integrating the lessons. So yeah, that's I feel it's very important for me. I find that others when they work through something from their childhood, for example, just as a basic example, like if you go and instead of feeling like disempowered um, from things that have happened, like whether it be from school or different people in our life or from family that may have brought on those feelings of disempowerment, um, shifting things in those experiences, it allows the clients that I've worked on to feel so much more in their own power and able to speak their truth. So yeah, there's many examples of this, and it's not something that, like I said, you have to have a session. Even just dropping in a meditation, you're able to bring a new frequency throughout your multidimensional self.
That's where I live too. And I knew the first time you explained it, I could tell by the way you were talking, you're actually seeing it. You've been there, you live it. And I also believe that as we're sitting here, you and I are talking, there's aspects of us in other realities, and there's so much going on that's just we're just this small little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, what I want to also ask is your connection to the Arcturians. Um, and yeah, I'd like to weave that
Watch
in.
out,
And
this is my podcast. Um, okay, connection to the Arcturians. Everybody,
yeah,
everybody asked me that question, and it's not just the Arcturians. And I'm glad
okay,
you phrased it connection to. I never claimed to be Arcturian energy or any of that. The way I know, on my right leg, I have freckles, and I have
okay,
freckles in the shape of the Big Dipper, and off the handle, I have two other freckles, one being bigger than the other. And I never knew what that meant. My mom never knew what that meant. Nobody knew until I was 35. There was a bookstore in Toronto called the World's Biggest Bookstore, and there was a book on the shelf. I think it was called We the Arcturians, and it had that same thing on the cover, the Big Dipper and the planet Arcturus. So then once I realized I had that connection, that's when all the devices started coming through. That's when meditations and all the really crazy stuff started happening.
in a note for a second.
Yeah, I
Can you
don't
hear
know
me
if you
again?
can hear me, but you were
Okay.
cutting it out there, eh?
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it's stabilized now.
Good. It's the
Something
energy.
going. Yeah.
It's your pyramid.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like I got a little bit of that, but we'll just continue. Yeah, we definitely do have aspects of ourselves in other dimensions. And um, yeah, there's many, I feel like very similar to you. Like I'm not connected in any way, like to, or I'm not attached in any way to like an identification with anything. Like I understand that I'm the oneness. And if I try to attach myself to any any identity, it always just comes back full circle. And I have to relearn the fact that I'm like equal to everyone else. So yeah, for sure. And I feel yeah, as people become more aware and more awake, and they become aware to um, what lies within themselves and how to facilitate that transformation, they're aware of, yeah, you do have not just your first incarnation here on this planet. And you understand that, like, no matter where you are, like, it's always you. It's always you, no matter what, whether you're a butterfly, whether you're the water itself, it's always the awareness, the oneness that's experiencing. And so on that level, it's also very freeing, and like you understand that you're infinite, and there's really you're an eternal energy. And yeah, it's very beautiful as well.
Yeah, and while you were talking there, like you cut out again. And I was gonna, when the first time it happened, it's happened a couple times. I was gonna, oh, I'll just take that out when I edit it. And I was distinctly told to leave those spots in. Those are transmissions. They've never
Okay.
they've never happened like this before. So I'm
Wow.
gonna leave them in. I'll just maybe put a note at the beginning of the podcast so people know what they are. But
Yeah.
it's really cool. And the other thing is, like when people come to see you or when they do their self work, they're just clearing the way to remember who they really are.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. That's um my goodness. Okay. So many transmissions.
I
Are we
don't know what
back?
that is. It's never happened before. Do you have good internet where you are?
Yeah, this has never happened before. I just had a meeting, so yeah, this is very interesting. Um
It's all good, no worries.
okay. Yes. So yeah, we are clearing away some of the collective conditioning and some of these things from eons and eons, and we're able to just uh, find our truth, find our center, and that in that stillness, in meditation, you're able to get there to that place of remembrance of who you truly are, and that's really for me what's been most transformative and what I find to be most transformative in others in these sessions. It's really we're bombarded with so many fast-paced things in our world, right? And to come into a session like this and to have someone like me just bring you almost to a place of sleep. You're just being taken to a place of like a very deep rest and relaxation, what you truly need. In that place, it's amazing what can happen. Like you'll hear, you'll have like your psychic abilities come in. You'll be able to see and hear, and it may not be the first if it's the first time in someone's experience that they're having a session like this, you may not have it come on like a movie, but you'll definitely have flashes, and even if you just for a moment like take a deep breath and center yourself and really slow down the pace of your breathing so your nervous system can relax, like you'll and just setting that intention and asking to receive guidance, like you will have something come forward for you specifically that will help you remember, and yeah, it's I totally believe that it's all really finding the remembrance of your truth, um, and then yeah, moving past all of the other clutter as well, for sure.
Can you explain how a session works and how many sessions someone would need? I know it's general, but to give people a little understanding, because I think it's different than normal hypnosis, isn't it?
Yes, it is very different. So typically, I like to start my sessions in the morning, like around 10. And sometimes they could last upwards of like 6 hours.
Wow.
So um, in the beginning, uh, basically I'm having a conversation with my client and I'm just trying to allow them to relax and to open up about their life experience and to feel comfortable in sharing what has happened in their life and the aspirations that they have and what they feel connected to on their path. And after I'm able to gather that information and I have some key questions that I'd like to pose to their higher self once we're in, then I'll start the journey. And that is basically a guided visualization. So it's like a guided imagery where I take individuals through a garden. And in that garden, we are again just accessing that part of the brain that we're accessing in dream state and in sleep. And so when we're in that garden, we're able to then make a connection to um, the deeper layer of the subconscious and even deeper. So from that garden, we're able to then transfer to the other lifetimes. And that's usually when there's three doors, and we'll go to three specific timelines or experiences. And again, you may have a first experience. If you open the door and go to like a childhood experience, that's totally fine. Then the next two could be other lifetimes. And then once we're finished with those journeys, we'll go to like a Q&A with the higher self. And then that's basically when someone's like guardian angel or their angel team can come in. And if they're really connected, then they can start channeling. Um, and then otherwise, I'm asking the questions that they've brought to me, and I'm just asking it to them. And because they're in a deep state, they're able to really open up and bring forward that guidance. So those are like the three main segments of the session. So the first one is like just opening up, having a conversation, the clearing work, then getting into the hypnosis. The second piece is the journey, and the last piece is the Q&A with the higher self. And then usually what I find is if the individual is able to make a connection with the other lifetimes, then they're usually fine and they don't really ask for another session. But if they just went to like current lifetime experiences, then they'll come back for sure. Like they really want that experience to see what other lifetimes they've had. So yeah, for the most part, Dolores Cannon, she wanted individuals to just like come in and be taken care of in one session so that they're empowered and that they don't have to be reliant on her anymore. And I really resonate with that philosophy and that message. So I try to yeah, give as much guidance and support and teaching individuals how to drop into that state as well. So yeah.
If people want to get a hold of you or book a session, how would they do that?
So I have a website, and I'll say my Instagram. So my Instagram is with love from love. And from there, I have a link to my website, which is Infinity Tree. And from there, you can book a session directly with me. You could also just send me an email, and we can have a chat about what you're working through, and I could see how I could best assist you. Um, but yeah, I do have a website, and you're able to book directly with me through there.
Okay, and you're down the Niagara region, aren't you, in Ontario?
Yes, I'm in Niagara Lake.
Okay, that's not too far. You're almost right across the lake from where I am.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Drumming circles, kind of connected, kind of this frequency, energies. I mean, drumming circles were very popular many years ago, but I don't know anybody that does them now other than you.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I I was drumming for so long and had a very deep connection with the drum. And then as I was like moving through a very deep inner transformation, I kind of reawakened that connection to the drum and saw how much it was able to um, keep me like feeling uplifted, energized, and also like facilitate a deeper connection, like spiritual connection for myself. And so as I realized that, I felt really called to create circles where other people can come together and find group synchronicity. And once we're all in entrainment, it's very magical what happens when we're all in coherence with one another and synchronization. Sometimes we facilitate like a simple one beat, or it could be like a heartbeat rhythm. And through something like that, together, the energy is amazing. One of my friends who came to our first circle this year, she looked at the Schumann resonance during our first drum circle, and she was like, "Nick, you have to see it. There was a little spike right, right at our drum circle time." So I definitely feel that like there's a powerful shift that happens, and yeah, it's very important to me to have people accessing that in a group, especially out in nature. I really find when we're out in nature, especially like by the water, for example. Yeah, it brings everyone so much closer together. So yeah,
Yeah, I see a lot of your posts. You're out in nature, walking around in bare feet. You do grounding, eh?
yes, yeah, for sure.
You also mentioned like sound healing. Is there something other than the drums? Do you do other work as well, like incorporating sound?
So I would say my main instrument that I use is the drum. Uh, and I do have Tibetan singing bowls. I also have a smaller gong. I have some tuning forks that I've been using every single day that I go to specific places like on the grid and I do like attunements with crystals on the grid. And that's also very important to me. Um, but yeah, the tuning forks, the Tibetan metal singing bowls, and the gong are the main instruments that I use for the most part. Yeah.
It's great. I have a few things I use, and I just have them all there. I never know which one I will use until I'm in that situation and it speaks to me.
Yes.
Ormus, I see that you made a post somewhere in the boat. Oh, do you make Ormus or do you sell Ormus? Or how does that work?
Yes. So I've been making it now. This was going back to last year, and last year was very transformative for me. I felt like I was really overextending myself in the amount that I was doing, and um, yeah, so many things came up in my life and I felt really overwhelmed. So I went to a friend of mine, his name's Chase, and he introduced me to Ormus and I was shocked, like I had no idea what this was. So I ended up buying a book by Chris Emmons and I started reading it and diving into it a little deeper, and it really resonated with me. So I picked up some supplies and started creating the Ormus. And yeah, it took a couple of batches to really get the hang of how to really create the Ormus and attune it. Um, so it's really harmonic with my body, anyways. And yeah, ever since then, I've been uh, creating it for others, sharing it. I also sell it, and yeah, it's very important for me as well. I feel like I would never say that we need something external. Um, I would never like tell you, oh yeah, you need this product outside of yourself to connect because I truly believe that we have everything within ourselves. Um, with that said, I also connect with the trees and I connect with the waters and there's so many like I'm very connected to the elements. So yeah, this is something that it's essentially ancient mineral salts that have been alchemized into a monoatomic state. Um, so they're very high spin. The monoatomic elements, they're essentially going from like larger clusters of molecules and taking them into a monoatomic state. So they're spinning at a very high frequency. Um, and the different salts that I use, usually they have a high concentration of gold as well. And from my research, anyways, it has been used in ancient cultures and especially Egypt. Um, yeah, so it's something that I feel has brought out a lot more vitality in myself and the people that I've shared it with have also experienced the same thing. And yeah, all of these things for me, it's just support. It's like another layer of support, just like sound, crystals, and the pyramids as well. Anything like to really help us stay in alignment with our soul path. So
You want to see levels of support? Come on over and visit me. I got a house full of stuff. Um,
wow.
I knew about Ormus years ago, never spoke to me. Recently, I really dug into it deep in the last 2 to 3 weeks, but
Okay.
not something I'm set up to make. I don't have the room to do it, but
Okay.
I'm interested in more of what it really is and programming it with certain frequencies with some of the devices I have here.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk sometime.
For
But
sure.
I believe we acquire things in our lives, especially when it comes to like alchemy and sound. It's all stuff we had in past lives, eh? And it just
Yes.
comes together and makes us, it helps us. I was talking to a lady, she was here for a workshop, and I said, she likes to write. I says, you really want to tune into a past life? Buy a fountain pen. You know, the old
Mm.
fountain pens with the ink in them?
Yes. Yep.
It's like, and I even have some inkwell pens that you dip in. Takes
Mhm.
me back to like the Nostradamus times or Victorian era. I don't know. It helps me jump. Like, would you call it a timeline? Helps
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
jump around, eh?
Wow.
So
That's
I
really
got
interesting.
lots of stuff. You'll have to come visit.
I really want to come and visit. Yeah.
Yeah, good. What about tensor rings? Another thing that I heard about a long time ago, but never went that route. But I've looked into them recently.
Okay. Yeah. So the tensor rings, I started making around 5 years ago, and it was a period when I was doing a lot of cleansing on my body. I was just trying to uh, cleanse out whatever was causing a lot of allergies in my life. So when I was accessing this very like deep fasted state, I found that I was way too sensitive to like EMFs and everything happening in our world. So I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna um, like compensate for this? And luckily something like popped up and I saw someone talking about tensor rings and using it for their water in their home. And I was like, okay, this sounds really interesting. So um I like have a whole lot of tools. I just like picked up some copper and started twisting it by hand to the qubit lengths. And yeah, I just started like wearing them and I was like, okay, this is really energizing. I feel like I could exert myself a lot more and I feel like my joints are able to like move and I'm able to walk a lot further without feeling thirsty or hungry or anything. So I was like, okay, there's something to this. Um yeah, and the the different qubit lengths, the ones that I've worked with are mainly the the sacred, the royal, and the empowerment qubit lengths, and they vary slightly in the measurement. And essentially, what they are like a dipole antenna. So, if you think of like the old antennas, if you've seen them like on top of people's like roof, so those antennas are essentially created to a specific wavelength, and that is essentially what the qubit lengths are. So the the one that I work with is like 28.85 inches, and that's the empowerment qubit. And that one is associated with 188 megahertz. Um, yeah, and you can create multiples, so you can multiply that and create multiples of that length. And essentially, what they do is create a torus field, and that torus field is able to really transmute any kind of EMFs from the environment and transmute it into like something that's harmonic for our bodies for all of life. And yeah, I know there are definitely ways of testing this and yeah, having more like scientific backing behind those claims as well, especially if yeah, we look at like the EMF readers or things like that. I believe there are a lot of like different studies that have been done. But yeah, I definitely feel it. And ever since then, I started creating some bigger ones recently with like heavier gauge copper and also not just double twisted. Recently, I've been doing like 8 twists, trying to like step up yeah, the number of strands as though I was like going up from two-stranded DNA to like multiple strands. That's how I look at it. Yeah, so very, very powerful. And again, like the people who I've shared them with in my community, they all feel the energy. They use them in their own sessions and they find them very supportive as well.
There's a lot of depth to you for sure. You're very into everything, and I really admire the fact that, oh, I'm changing this up and what following your guidance from wherever and reinventing the wheel. Too many people, they just copy it exactly the way it was. You know, if that was the case, we'd all be driving Ford cars from way back when, eh? We
Exactly.
take the information and go with it. You
Yeah.
know? I was gonna, oh,
Mhm.
and yeah, for your with your testing equipment, with your meters and all that, that's not my world. I feel it. I feel energy. That's all I need to know. You know, I know how it changes my life. I watch the animals. I watch the trees. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I know that there are people out there who I've tried to explain this technology and they do want something scientific. So I always try to mention that. And eventually I will get some gear to be able to show that to them. But I have tested it on plants. Like plants are a very simple way to just prove things because they don't lie. Like energy does not lie to a plant. Like when you can if you put some tensor rings around a plant and put it in the darkness, I've tried this, it will actually continue to grow as though it was immersed in light outdoors. So there is something very powerful. And yeah, like you said, you feel it.
I feel it. I mean, I got
Yeah.
copper all over the place, and I'm out in my garage doing my exercises, and I copper wire everywhere. And I'm thinking, geez, I should really strip that down. And the copper said, no, don't strip us down. We'll oxidize. Don't do it. Don't take the insulation off until you're ready to use us. Boy, I hear
Mm,
stuff like that all the time, right? So I might be one of the craziest people but I don't need proof. If I feel it, good enough for me.
yeah, for sure.
We have to live in that world. Um, I don't want to go all conspiracy crazy guy because I can be like that too, but I don't. I'm 65 years old now, and I've seen enough in the last couple of years. I don't believe anything I've been taught, trained. If I can't meditate or access the information in me to confirm something, it's not for me.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I totally resonate with that. And yeah, like what you just said there, like how I'm sorry, can you repeat that what you said, like how you don't believe anything that you were
When the
there?
information comes in, I can't remember what I said. That's the way it works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
anyways, like, yeah.
I just don't. I don't trust what I was taught in school. I don't trust any of it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. It's really it has to come from my inner awareness, my inner light has to like really have a strong pulse towards something. And every time I followed my heart, it's always led to beautiful, like miraculous things have opened up every time I follow my heart. Whenever I follow like an external form of guidance or anything, there's always like something, some kind of redirection. It's not for me. So I definitely resonate. Yeah, I always have to tune in and remind myself that I have to find it within myself to connect, to take some space before I like jump into something. And yeah, whenever I do that, it's always yeah, things just open up for me.
I know in my life I've had a pretty rough life. Not a bad life, but rough times. And the reason I had rough times is because I wouldn't listen to what was coming to me. I wouldn't listen to my intuition. So every
Mm,
time I went against what I was supposed to, I got hurt. I had major broke my leg, almost died 3 times, almost cut my hand off because I wasn't paying attention. So
exactly.
in the last 5 years, I don't question if I get a bad feeling, I go by my inner voice.
Exactly. Yeah, I yeah, wow. So yeah, that really speaks to me as well. Like I feel the same way. And it's pushed me into this state. And I've also had near death experiences. And yeah, like very serious things have happened when I'm too stubborn and not just taking a moment to listen to what's coming through. And yeah, for me, whenever I've followed like the traditional, or maybe that's not the right word, but like the route that the collective has laid out, whenever I've trusted that, it's always led to like injuries and things will happen and like just total chaos for me. And I've learned because it's taken me to a place of like being close to death, like you said, same thing, like many times. And I know now, like just take a pause, listen, and when I do that, I ask like what is the most aligned path here, and I'm always like shown like I'll have flashes come forward and I trust it completely now because I know I know that there's so much support for what we're moving through and like we came here with such a beautiful mission and uh just trusting that has always led to beautiful things. So yeah.
In my life, I'll share another experience and it might resonate with you. Whenever I get off the path, I know I have memories. For me, it's not I was just born and lived. I can remember those memories before. And we come here with a plan in mind. And some of
Mm,
us maybe have a more serious plan that we need to do. And I know in my case, if I get off track and I'm not doing what I chose to do when I came here, I'll get sick and I'll get really sick. And
Mhm.
it's come to me that if I don't do what my plan is here, and I'm keeping it toned down a little bit, then I'll be taken off the planet because I'm not of use. I'm not. Some people, and many people, this that you may understand this too, and I tell people all the time, many of us we didn't learn it here. We brought it with us. And some of the things we do in this life is just confirmation. So we're in these times of craziness in the world. But if you look past all that and you feel the energies, it's time for us to do what we came here to do.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's funny that you brought that up, that you feel like you'll be taken off planet. And I say that to myself. I say that to myself very often. And yeah, like this past winter, I again, like last year, I was again listening to external guidance, like people in my life who came in and were trying to really take me off my path, like away from my core group, like my soul family, that I have a very strong connection to, and that I'm doing my spiritual purpose with. And I've had people come in and like really try to take me off, and that's what happened last year. And unfortunately, I listened too much to that external guidance, and I ended up with lots of injuries, getting very close to death again. And I had many dreams that it was like there was an exit point, like there was a potential exit point for me if I didn't like step up my game. And in order to like make it through, I had a lot of guidance that I had so much work to do to get like back on track. And yeah, the past 6 months for me have been like really intense work, and doing as much as I can possibly do to get back on track. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm here, and I want to just continue moving forward in that way. Like um, yeah, I'm happy. I'm grateful, and I know there's been such intensity as well that I've moved through in this life. But I do feel very, very confident where we're heading now. And I know that others will also have like their experiences to move through, and people like us who have already moved through it are here to hold space and to help others through when their time arises. So
Well, I'm grateful that you're on my podcast here. And, people say to me, well, look at you. You're doing a podcast and you got all these social media content and all these platforms. And I'm 65 years old. This is not my area of expertise, but the voices that direct me said I had to use the tools that I had at hand. And I'm supposed to be the go-between. I need to post these videos and these podcasts to get it out to people so they know where people like you are and we can all find each other because I see a wonderful future, but we all have to do our work and stay happy.
exactly. Yeah. And community is going to be increasingly important as we move through these times, and it's helped me so much in finding people, yeah, not only close by here where I live, but also across the world. Like we all have to, when we come together, we are so much more powerful, and we do need support. Like it's never a good option to just isolate yourself or moving through something difficult. If I were to ask for help every time in my life that I've been moving through something difficult, my life experience would have been totally different. I wish I would have asked for help from people in my community, because they would have been more than happy to support me, and I would have like moved through those deep like periods in my life so much more. So yeah, community is so important. And of course, like there is much work to do, but I also see so much opening up. And yeah, I'm grateful for people like you who hold that vision, and are here connecting individuals who are here on a similar path. So I thank you so much for holding that space and holding the vision. Thank you.
You're a lot like me. Uh, People say to me all my life, if you need a hand, let me know. You need a hand moving that heavy stone, let me know. If you need any money, let me. I'm the guy that'll never ask. Never have, never will.
Mhm.
That's just the way I am. It's the nature of the
Yeah.
beast. I think you're similar.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's not a fault.
Yeah.
Nicholas, any last words? We're coming up to almost an hour already. It's been exciting.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, my last words are to really follow your heart and trust your heart. And like I said previously, it's taking a moment to deepen your connection to your inner light and inner canvas. That's always helped me. That's always been the place of the highest transformation for myself. Um, is just slowing down, taking a moment, and from that place of infinite consciousness, then allowing higher divine intelligence to flow through you. And yeah, sometimes it may be intimidating what you're being called to do and to put forward in the world, like how you are creating these podcasts and sharing so much on social media. Like sometimes when we're called to do these things, it may be a little bit intimidating, but have faith and trust what your heart is calling you to do. And I promise you, miracles will open up, and they have for me whenever I trust my heart. And I know that will be the same for all of you listening. So, yeah, with that, I thank you all for listening. And once again, you can find me on Instagram with love from love. And if any of you would like to book a session, that is Infinity Tree, which is my website. And I'm sure I could have those links in the comments as well or something. So yeah, thank you so much, Jody. I really appreciate this. And uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to much more to come from you, and I'll be following you along your journey as well. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you for being our guest. And don't run away after I stop the recording, so I want to talk to you for a minute, okay?
Yes.
So, thank you everyone for listening. This has been the Time Is Now podcast. We look forward to sharing with you again soon. Everyone have a fantastic day.